tell. It's gonna be a great Noel. It's the Advent Calendar House. Muppets, Batman, Smurfs, and even Garfield's Halloween. We're gonna take a trip down memory lane. Frosty, Rudolph, and a bunch you've probably never seen. It's Mike and pals that come to entertain. Turn the knob and lift the latch for fun and laughs that can't be matched. And just beware the icy patch. It's the Advent Calendar House.
Hello, mutants, and welcome back to the Advent Calendar House, sponsored by Dr. McCoy's Exploding Cranberry Glaze. For today's uncanny episode, I call upon the raging wind to blow us back to 1995 for our first trip into the Marvel Universe, or a Marvel Universe. So join us as we visit the X-Men in Have Yourself a Morlock Little Xmas. I am about to crash land an out-of-control ambulance onto a couple of unsuspecting ice skaters, Mike Westfall. And joining me, fresh out of podcast retirement, it's the gang from the Archive. First is a man who realized too late that wearing his special sunglasses can't save anyone from his terrible singing. It's Drew Crowley. Hey, Drew.
Hello. Hi.
Also here and wearing enough Musk of the Wild for me to smell it on an audio medium, it's John Dedeke. Hello, John.
What up, bub?
And in his secret lab brewing something non-alcoholic and green, it's Adam Juritich. Welcome back, Adam.
And I'm Nick. Wait.
Well, yes, dressed
and
like
I'm Morph.
And lastly, dressed like a prison chef and here to ruin your Christmas dinner. And also from Eat Me in St. Louis, it's Nick Main. Welcome, Nick.
Thank you.
What was that?
I don't know. But John, something about the smell about you makes me turn into an animal.
That's a award-winning Nick Main, by the way.
Award-winning. Yeah. That's right. Of the award-winning Eat Me in St. Louis. Please do listen. Thank you all for coming in. This is an episode I've had banked for a while, and I know talking about X-Men is a topic so near and dear to the hearts of the Archive. You all did it twice.
Did we do it twice?
Yeah.
Redux.
Reduxmen.
Reduxmen. That's right.
I'm going to tell you, I'll probably do that 100 times, so just get used to it.
That's one.
Start the clock.
Oh no.
Can you do the bell too? Can you bring in the bell?
I can make a bell happen.
The thing that lingers in my head from that theme from the animated series is always that
the
bell
ding.
that hits.
Yes. We'll bring in the bell. So let's talk briefly about your personal histories with the X-Men, this show, and if you remember watching this Christmas episode when it first aired in the 90s. And we'll start with Nick.
Well, I grew up with X-Men. Watching this, I didn't watch the cartoon when it was coming on, but going back to it, I appreciated that it tapped into that same Jim Lee, Chris Claremont era. And so, this is my classic X-Men. I love them. It's been a while since I've gotten into that. I did not remember who the Morlocks were, so I'm interested in you guys telling me a little bit more about their history. But I love the X-Men.
Perfect. Drew, what about you?
This was the show that really got me into the X-Men and probably comics in general. And I don't remember watching this episode. I think I may have lost interest in the show in those later seasons. And I remember there was a long break at one point between one season and the next, and I thought it was canceled for a while. But yeah, this was the show that got me into it. And so from there, I started reading the comics, and especially in the late 90s. When this show was on, that's when the sort of era of X-Men that I read. And then recently, I guess now 4 years ago or so, I decided to like go back, start where I had stopped in the comics back in like 2000 and get current on the X-Men, which was at times really terrible reading. But there are a few highs there. All the way up till current day, I'm now reading X-Men as it comes out. And so
wow.
I'm a big fan.
Very nice. John, how about you?
X-Men is something I've never really been fully into, but it was always something that I wanted to be into. And that started with the comics. Like I started getting into the comics right around that Chris Claremont, Jim Lee era. And so I would randomly like just pick up an issue that looked kind of cool, and I would try to get into it and just couldn't ever really stick with it. It was not like something that super appealed to me. So I would just hear about all these things like the Phoenix saga and eventually later it was like Onslaught and all this stuff, but I could never really like fully get into it. And it was kind of the same way with the show. I definitely remember when this series debuted. It came sort of at the tail end of when I was regularly watching Saturday morning shows. And this, at least in our area, aired on Saturday mornings, I think around like 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock in the morning, which was kind of late in the block of programming. But I definitely remember watching the opening episode, the very first episode.
No.
But I don't remember anything that happened. I'm sure I watched other episodes, but I don't remember, any specific instances. So like the X-Men are just like a constant enigma to me.
Yeah.
That and this was no exception. This is the first time I had ever seen this episode or any Xmas related X-Men story.
Yeah, that's very similar to my experience with it. I'll get into that a little more, but lastly, Adam, tell us about your history.
Oh yeah, I watched the show like a maniac. I had these 30-minute long VHS tapes. Like that's the extent of how long you could put something on it. So I would record Batman, the animated series, and X-Men. I'd have all these tapes of them, and the quality was terrible if a 30-minute tape. But I felt like, man, if I don't tape this stuff, I'll never see it ever again.
Sure.
So I would like clockwork, make sure I recorded it. But it's funny because I know at some point did stop watching. I don't know if because of age, as in my own age or whatnot. But I read the comics, my friends' comics anyway, growing up. And I loved them. And it's funny rewatching this. I won't get too much into it, but it's amazing how much I remembered, amazing how much I did not remember at all.
Yeah, that is pretty much the pattern I went. I want to say I watched this when I first aired, but I also have my doubts that I did. I remember watching it before I was an adult, so maybe I caught it on a rerun. But I'm not sure it was on that first Saturday morning. It was December 23rd, 1995. At this point, X-Men was on at 11 o'clock because this was season 4 on Fox. I was 15 at the time, and if I was still watching TV and not playing Super Nintendo by 11 o'clock, then yeah, I was probably watching X-Men. Because networks were starting, this is when they were starting to get away from the traditional blocks of Saturday morning cartoons by this point. Fox was one of the only networks still dedicated to animation on Saturday morning. NBC was full Saved by the Bell, The New Class, and California Dreams.
California Dreams!
Yeah!
Gosh. Had Disney Afternoon started at this point?
Yeah, I think that might have been it. I think they might have been transferring all of the animation over to the afternoon because that's when we were all watching.
Adam's numbers don't add up from his story.
Oh?
He claims to have this 30-minute tape that he recorded both the X-Men and Batman on, but those are both like 22 minutes.
I would have separate
You're
ones.
talking like an
Batman
episode.
tapes.
Okay, you have two 30-minute
Batman
tapes.
Yeah, I have my Batman tapes and I have my X-Men tapes.
Wow.
Okay.
You made this incredibly difficult for yourself.
You did.
Yeah.
Is this surprising?
I'm impressed. I'm really impressed.
Got my Batman tapes and I got my X-Men tapes.
But yeah, the TV was getting away from the Saturday morning cartoon block. This was the same year, the same month, I think, that Saturday morning cartoons greatest hits album was released. And that was considered nostalgic. So we're close to the end of an era.
That was an incredible album, by the
It
way.
was and is, and I think I still have it.
Did you ever see the video?
Wait a minute, there's a home video?
Yes.
The home video companion hosted by Drew Barrymore.
Drew Barrymore.
And a bunch of random people coming over in pajamas.
Oh, I have seen this.
Oh,
I legit don't know what you guys are
amazing.
talking about at all.
I'm sure it's available on YouTube.
it has to be. I'm going to find it and put it in the show notes.
Please do.
There was this compilation album called Saturday Morning Cartoons Greatest Hits, and it was all of these bands doing covers of old cartoons. It was usually 60s, 70s era.
Yeah.
Yeah, it had like Liz Phair did the Tra La La song. Ramones did the cover of the Spider-Man theme.
Matthew Sweet did the Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
I guess I've heard these songs. I didn't realize they were on an album together.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You had Sublime covering Hong Kong Phooey. It was...
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I've heard all
Yep.
the songs that you're talking
Yep.
about so far. So,
but it was also the weekend before Christmas this aired. And that's the weekend my family, my extended family, when we all lived in and around Philadelphia, would get together. So if it's 11 o'clock, we're getting ready to go to a party. I'm probably already dressed and probably just waiting until it's time to pack the car and go. So I don't know. Let's say I did watch it then. According to the Marvel Animated Universe Wiki, which exists, this is the only Christmas episode in any animated Marvel series from the 90s.
Wow.
Oh.
Good job.
That includes Spider-Man, Iron Man, Fantastic Four, Hulk, Silver Surfer had a series. And
you'd think Spider-Man would have had one.
Yeah,
That's the
especially
one
that.
out of all of them.
Especially the 90s one.
Right.
You would have
Exactly.
thought that would have done something.
Spider-Man.
Does that mean that
Active Spider-Man.
Spider-Bug.
that's exclusively with the 90s that we're talking about? Does that mean that there are Christmas episodes from like the 80s cartoons or the late 60s, 70s?
Or the aughts.
I didn't look, but probably. Like I wouldn't be surprised if there was a Christmas episode of Spider-Man and his amazing friends floating around.
Oh, gotta find it if so.
Well, the good thing is that's another episode then for you, buddy.
There you go. Yeah. That's why Iceman's not here. But but also, according to the same wiki, this episode was directed by Larry Houston, but he's not credited because he had left the show before it aired. It's not clear whether someone removed his name or he asked it for it to be removed or they just forgot. But get my name out of there. But all right, let's get into the episode, which opens on a snowy day at X Mansion and a very, very awful rendition of Deck the
Oh my
Halls by
God, yeah.
Cyclops.
Oh.
Deck the halls with boughs of holly, fa la 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 la. 'Tis the season to be jolly, la 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 la. Perhaps you two better take over from here.
Well, that's Cyclops, Storm, and Jubilee. They're all singing it. No, I'm sorry, Rogue.
Rogue and Jubilee, yes.
Yes.
But Rogue and Jubilee are doing fine.
Yeah.
I'll take your word for it, because Cyclops was definitely domineering that.
Oh, yep.
Well, he's the worst.
I think all of them were recorded separately and they just combined it at the end. Yeah.
Fixed it in post. Yeah.
There it is.
Right.
Even he knows he can't sing. It might be the single worst singing I've heard on TV. It's that bad.
It's really awful.
Wasn't bad. I also wonder if well, that doesn't matter. Yeah.
I do appreciate them dunking on Cyclops like right out of the gate.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
He's
Perfect.
nothing but a laughing stock for the entire episode, which is classic.
I feel like the show takes it throughout its run, took every opportunity to point out how much of a dork Cyclops was
Oh, yeah.
in this era.
Scott's terrible voice is provided by Norm Spencer. And as is the case with most of this cast, he's also the voice of Cyclops in the Capcom fighting games.
Yeah.
So if you, like I, have Optic Blast lodged into your brain for eternity,
Very nice.
thank Norm Spencer.
Optic blast.
I had no idea that they shared voice talent. For
I didn't know
Yes.
that either.
That's awesome.
Died in 2020, unfortunately.
Oh, wow.
But also singing with Scott, so it's not entirely unbearable, are Rogue, voiced by Lenore Zan,
Well, at least you tried. Better than old Grumpus over there.
who was also Tigra in the Avengers animated series from the late 90s,
All right.
where they were led by Hank Pym, because sure. She was a bunch of characters on Dragon Tales. I've mentioned a show called Stunt Dogs on here. She was a character on that. And in the cartoon Mega Man NT Warrior, she was the voice of Roll.
Oh,
Huh.
Okay.
Quite a resume.
These days, she's a politician with Canada's Liberal Party. She served in Parliament for the last 2 years.
whoa.
Mon Sherry.
I feel like she defines Rogue for a generation
Oh,
of people.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like Anna Paquin tried to sound like her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's several voice actors in this show that like really define those characters for
Mhm.
years.
Oh, yeah.
Like when you heard them or in your head, I feel like that's who you heard for the longest time.
Mhm.
Alternatively, when you heard other people do it, you'd be like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's quite right.
Always happens. And then Jubilee is voiced by Allison Court,
Wolverine, come over and help us. I've never had a Christmas with you before.
who I know first and foremost as the voice of Lydia in the Beetlejuice cartoon.
Oh, it's fun.
And she was also Lunette the Clown from The Big Comfy Couch.
She was also Claire Redfield from Resident Evil 2.
Oh,
And,
okay.
she's in a lot of
Really?
She reprises that role quite a bit in ancillary materials, it seemed like.
Well, all right. So they're all singing carols and decorating a very big Christmas tree inside the mansion, which sent me down a rabbit hole for a little game called How Tall is the Christmas Tree in X Mansion?
Oh,
Any guesses?
I'm going to go with 42 feet.
Not even close.
Not even close in
It's
height. Like
not.
it's taller.
No, it's shorter.
Okay.
I was like, wait, that'd be 4 stories. That doesn't make any sense at all.
we're talking about in this cartoon.
In this cartoon.
I'm gonna say 24 feet.
I'm gonna go 16 feet.
I'm going to 17. I changed my mind.
Ooh.
11 feet.
Well, now that Adam changed his mind, he's right on the money if I have my math right. So Rogue has to fly Jubilee to put a star on top of the tree. And using the strings of garland as guidelines, I measured the tree to be just about 3 Rogues tall.
I love it.
Rogue is apparently officially 5'8", so 3 times that is 17 feet. However, in this...
She's wearing
Yeah, in
heels
this scene...
and
She's
Aha.
drawn as being the same height as Scott, who's listed as 6'3".
Can we talk about the continuity or lack thereof?
Oh, yeah, well, there's a lack thereof.
Was that like, is that series wide? I'm talking about like, if you look at if you follow just the gifts, the not animated, but the Christmas gifts in this episode, thank you, Drew. This episode, the continuity is glaring, like from 1 second to another second, sizes, shapes, colors, they're all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
It's nuts. And I wondered to myself,
They're
is
mutant
that
gifts.
because you said it was 4th season?
This is 4th season, yes.
I wonder that's just the quality had dipped at that point, or that has been that was the standard for the entire show, and I have no idea.
that's the standard.
Yeah.
I mean, if you go back and watch other seasons, the quality never really goes up or down from where it starts. Like it's kind of poor throughout.
Yeah, they're not taking into consideration those gifts at all, but that doesn't surprise me in the least. You see a lot of the cheap animation where like a person's clothes will change color. Is this sort of era. And this is after that break that we talked about between the seasons where we thought it might be canceled and then they came back for more. I think this is after that.
Yeah.
Sort of related to that note, what really stood out to me about this scene is the lack of furniture in the
Yes, Wolverine is sitting in a lazy boy. There's nothing else in the room.
That's
It's just
the only piece of furniture.
him facing the fire and the tree behind
They
us.
had to clear it out for the tree.
Yeah.
Well, it's also Professor X's mansion, and he's in that floating chair all the
Right.
time.
Yeah, he doesn't need
Yeah, I guess
he doesn't need
furniture.
Yeah, like, and the X-Men don't need to be sitting around. They should be training.
But there's no potted plants. There are no photos anywhere. There's nothing.
This is an empty room with just decorations on the wall, this tree in the middle.
They should have put in the danger room. It was right there.
To be fair, the mansion is constantly getting destroyed.
Fair.
Yeah,
And so
okay.
Yeah.
furnishing it is kind of a waste of time.
So yeah, Wolverine sitting away from anyone, turned away from anyone in the lone chair in this room, sitting by the fire, trying to avoid anything remotely cheerful.
You know,
But
if
being in the room with the tree.
Yeah, cranky old Wolverine just sitting there being cranky.
if he had like a glass of whiskey, he would have been like the embodiment
Oh,
of
yeah.
that Nick Offerman Year-Long video,
Yeah.
where he just like sits there and stares at you drinking whiskey.
He's got the flannel shirt. Wolverine is voiced by Cal Dodd, who is easily best known for being Wolverine.
Kid, the day you catch me singing Jingle Bells is the day pigs fly.
But he was also a voice in the Goosebumps TV show as Slappy the Living Dummy.
Oh.
And he was a doozer on Fraggle Rock one time.
Wow.
Oh wow.
I remember, not with this episode, but a while back, going back and rewatching this show and being surprised at how not that it's high pitched, but his voice is like reedier than I remembered it being. Like as a kid, I remember it being like really like, raspy as it is and gravelly, but more sort of like deeper, more resonant. And it's a lot like it's up here more than anything else.
That was pretty good, Drew.
But again, another like defining voice.
Oh, yeah.
This voice will always be secondary to me next to the voice of the Wolverine
I know.
that was in that one episode of Spider-Man.
Pride of the
Not Pride of the
X-Men.
X-Men, but the episode of Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, where they go to a barbecue with the X-Men, and Wolverine shows up, and he inexplicably has this kind of weird, jaunty Australian accent. And he skewers a bunch of pineapple, and he's like, "How you doing? Want to play some fruit?" So every time I watch one of these '90s episodes, I think that's not Wolverine. Where's the Australian accent?
He's Australian in Pride of the
Yeah.
Oh, is he?
as well.
Yep.
I don't know why.
Oh, well, it must have been the same
Yeah.
production team or whatever that did that.
Right.
That's hilarious.
And then Hugh Jackman used an American accent just to throw everyone off.
Yeah.
That could have been Canadian, I guess.
Yeah, probably. But let's see who else is spending the holidays at X Mansion. We venture into the kitchen to find Gambit and Jean with very different ideas of what does and does not belong in a Christmas dinner.
Gosh.
Guess which one likes it spicy?
Just need a little gambit magic. Little cayenne, little thyme.
If you want to keep that hand, stay away.
Gambit's just trying to help.
The day that I need your help in the kitchen is the day that I stop cooking.
I love the situation where Jean Grey is possibly the most powerful mutant, but she's also kind of the mom cook who's like, "Hey,
Yeah.
don't tell me how to cook in the kitchen."
Don't touch my roast.
Yeah.
I like that she flips what I thought was a pot of boiling liquid over onto Gambit's head.
Who apparently, feels nothing. He has no nerve endings.
Yeah.
Right. Completely fine, just wetter.
Does Gambit always refer to himself in the third person?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, in this show he does.
Gambit, how to cook.
I know he talks like The Rock.
That's it. That's the I forgot about that part. I was like, oh, that's right. He's like weirdly like a Muppet, like a Muppet monster.
He's Leatherhead from Ninja Turtles.
Yes, that too.
Yes.
Yeah. It's also like, I think this scene, and honestly most of the episode, illustrates that they just should not dress out of their uniforms ever in this show. Like the Gambit, especially here, needs his little like side mask, sock, his head sock, and it just looks so strange without it on,
and with a chef's hat. And I think he's wearing a striped shirt.
The fashion in this is amazing.
Yeah, they all are wearing such awful clothes, except for Storm.
Yes.
I guess we'll talk about later.
Yeah.
She has a fantastic outfit in this.
We got to dedicate a segment to that.
We will.
can't go quite
Okay.
Yeah, dedicated.
The voice of Gambit is Chris Potter, whom I know best as Peter Kane from Kung Fu: The Legend Continues.
Oh,
David Carradine's adult son.
yeah, David Carradine. Yeah.
And Jean is voiced by Catherine Disher, who was also the voice of Jill Valentine in some Resident Evil. Resident Evil
There we
3,
go.
at least. And she was apparently Roly Poly Oly's mother. But I've never watched that show, so I'm taking your word for it, Internet. And then we also see Beast brewing some sort of holiday beverage in his lab, and he mentions it's non-alcoholic, and we see it turn from orange to a bright green color. I think Beast is making Ecto Cooler.
I feel. Never mind. Well, I think we'll probably get to what's going to happen to his little concoction here in a minute. So I don't want to jump ahead too much.
I think that's a separate thing, though.
Yeah.
Because here he's brewing a drink, but
It happens later, right?
Yes. You're right.
'Twas Christmas broached the mightiest ale. 'Twas Christmas told the merriest tale. A Christmas gamble oft could cheer poor man's heart through half the year.
Beast is played by George Buza, who was also the voice of Chief Chirpa in the Ewoks cartoon.
Oh.
And did any of you watch the Maniac Mansion TV show on the Family Channel?
Mm-mm.
He played Turner, who was Dr. Fred's rapidly aging toddler. So, like, he was a precursor to the movie Jack with Robin Williams. And he's like the older guy with bald head and a full beard. So, made it better.
Fun fact, he also appeared in X-Men the movie, the Bryan Singer film.
Oh.
He is the trucker that Rogue hides in his truck. He finds her and then drops her off where she'll go and meet
Wolverine.
Wolverine.
Oh, never caught that. Wow.
Yeah. And I'm curious if he it's a small part, but he does have lines in it. And I'm just wondering, did his X-Men, credentials land him that part? Like, did he go in, have you cast Beast yet? I played Beast in the 90s.
Did you cast the trucker yet?
Did you? I'll play the Beast, or I could play the trucker.
Anything I can do where I wear a beard?
Perfect.
Yeah. He does. He has a big bushy mustache, and he almost has the Wolverine hair cut on his cheeks, but he has a mustache, which Wolverine doesn't have.
Yeah, that's his regular look.
Yeah.
And finally, keeping watch on the mansion's surveillance monitors are Professor X and Storm.
I don't think I've had a happier Christmas. All of my X-Men together, with so much to be thankful for.
Yes.
What is it, Storm? You seem distracted.
I am sorry. I'm not sure why.
Let's talk about Storm's dress.
I think she wore this dress before in the show. I don't think that was the first appearance of that dress.
I hope it wasn't a one-off. It's a quality dress.
Yeah, I would hope she has more than 2 outfits.
Yeah.
She's got a third in this that we see her wear, but this dress, it's pink, and it's got these green sort of tiger stripes on them, and
tiger stripes.
Yeah, it's fantastic look for her.
I'm trying to remember what she's wearing in the pilot episode. She and Rogue are shopping at the mall that Jubilee's at, and a Sentinel attacks.
Oh yeah,
they love the mall in this series.
They do.
Yeah. It's like, I think it's the same mall too, at the that shows up in this episode, but
I think you're right.
I forget I don't think she's wearing this dress, but the fun thing there is they really play fast and loose with like mutant abilities in this show, because when the Sentinel shows up, Storm and Rogue are like, okay, let's take, we're going to knock this thing out. Rogue just flies up and starts, beating on it. And Storm does this thing where she like makes lightning shoot at her own body and like basically transforms her civilian clothes into her Storm outfit.
Oh.
And I don't know if she's obliterating her clothes and has the Storm outfit underneath, or if somehow her lightning is transmogrifying the cloth or it could be the unstable molecules that Professor X makes all of their uniforms out of. Maybe her other clothes are also that, and so she can somehow transform them. I don't know.
Do you know what happens to a cotton blouse when it gets hit by lightning? Neither do I.
It's into my fabulous outfit.
I read or heard recently that the joke that you quoted, there was supposed to be a recurring gag from Toad throughout that movie where he was asking, do you know what happens when this or that? And so that was supposed to be
a callback to that,
a funny callback, but they took all that stuff out. And then she just says that inexplicably.
Well, I'm glad they cut that. It makes it better to me.
Yeah.
Storm is voiced here by Allison Seeley Smith. She also voiced Gamora in the Silver Surfer cartoon. Gamora and Drax showed up in the Silver Surfer show, and now no one remembers Silver Surfer was even in a movie.
Didn't someone from this show play Drax, didn't they? I thought I saw that.
I think
in that same.
Who was it?
Was that Ape? I really liked apes.
No, but we're gonna get into a tangent with Ape.
Okay. Can't wait.
It was it was
Cyclops?
Cyclops was
Wow.
Drax. Yeah. Norm Spencer was Drax.
And then Charles is voiced by Cedric Smith, no relation, who was also the voice of Red Skull.
I know him best from Avonlea.
Oh, that's right. He was Alec King in Avonlea.
Yeah.
I watched Avonlea. We're now just starting to watch Anne with an E with the kids, which I like, and I think they enjoy it. So, Storm seems to be not depressed, but Charles uses the word distracted, which is fitting. She's not sure why.
I have a lot of issues with Storm's ethics in this episode.
Oh yeah.
But I'll come back to that later.
Yeah, we will. Okay.
Did we ever find out why Wolverine was so surly?
Because he's Wolverine.
Why not?
He's all like, I don't like Christmas. I don't like Christmas.
He's Wolverine.
That's his bag, baby.
He doesn't like Christmas. Yeah, that's it.
I didn't know
What
there
else
was a
is he gonna
catalyst for
do?
the. Whoa! All right. I was just curious.
Why is water wet? Why is the sky blue?
To Adam's point, you do have that plot point a lot in these sort of things. Like
Exactly.
Like in Ghostbusters, Peter Venkman had a bad Christmas one year or something, or his parents forgot about it.
Right.
I feel like that happened in G.I. Joe too, and I forget, but it's same idea.
Yeah.
But right about now is when an explosion rocks the mansion and everyone runs to see what happens, thinking they're being
Under
attacked on Christmas. No, it's Beast. He was trying to make a cranberry glaze and it backfired on him. So being the drama queen that he is, he pushes the panic alarm.
Wait.
Wait, did he hit that button? Or...
That's what I inferred.
No, I thought it just the explosion of thing having come running.
Oh, no, there was an alarm.
Well, there's definitely an alarm.
Right, but I think it's because like a smoke alarm, basically, like an explosion alarm. But like my point, but here's what I was gonna say earlier. Like, come on, this is freaking Beast. Like there's no way he would have done something and not realized it was gonna be combustible. Like it seems very out of character to me.
Maybe that ecto cooler he was brewing wasn't quite non-alcoholic as he said.
There you go.
And it would be in character if he did that on purpose.
Yes.
In the comics, he sort of has become very kind of questionable in his ethics.
Oh,
Yes.
Scientifically.
Yes.
I think he was just trying to give himself grounds for being a more prominent player in the course of this episode, which clearly needed to be done, because if you look at this is establishing all of the characters that we're going to follow through the course of this episode, and Beast will later play a very pivotal role in what happens. Meanwhile, Gambit and Jean Grey are stuck in the kitchen with the worst B plot of any series I've ever seen. Utterly insignificant.
They never leave the kitchen. They are the filler plot.
I question Beast being integral later.
Well, okay.
I guess we'll cover that.
And Wolverine responds later than everyone else to the alarm. He's very annoyed to discover it's nothing. Says he's got to get out of the mansion and get away from Christmas. And Jubilee suggests he come with her and Storm into the city to go shopping, because you know a good place to go if you want to get away from Christmas? New York City.
And the mall. Which was for me, I was like, wait, it was such a weird undertone of I don't remember. I always thought they had a mentor-mentoree sort of thing, which I guess is kind of what they were inferring, but also the way she's
like father-daughter.
Right. Yeah. But the way she said it was oh, I don't know. That's very, very strange. And again, at this point, I'm still trying to figure out, why is Wolverine hate Christmas? There's still no catalyst or
he's Wolverine.
I get that's your argument.
Why do you need more of a reason than that?
I get that's why your argument is, but
he hates Christmas because other people like Christmas.
This is his 160th Christmas. He's tired of it.
Yeah. I do like that she does try to compel him, and he's turn it off.
Yeah. All it takes a please for me, and we cut to the bustling streets of Manhattan.
Yeah.
Where Jubilee has already bought a pile of wrapped gifts, and there are the amazing switching boxes.
Oh man, so crazy.
That's right.
Can we talk about this though? Can we talk about just the premise of this? That this group of people who are constantly trying to evade scrutiny and not be seen as outcasts or not provide any opportunity to create any kind of friction within society, choose to willingly go to a crowded mall on Christmas Eve in the middle of the most populous city in the United States.
They're asking for trouble.
I'll blame the victim. Okay.
Wow.
Oh yeah. Okay, John. We all know where you're going with that one.
I feel like out of the group, these three could blend into a crowd fairly decently.
Wolverine's hair is very subtle.
It was.
Well, and
yes.
Professor X's whole thing is we're part of society.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to hide away, except that we are going to hide that we're training children to be warriors, but we're not going to hide that we're mutants and that we exist in this society.
Well, I guess it does make a good contrast for the Morlocks later on.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, I cannot wait to can I skip ahead? What is the difference between a Morlock and a mutant?
We'll get there.
Why are they living in the sewers?
Yeah, we can't go there yet.
All right.
We'll go through it. They're going through the mall. Jubilee has his sack presents. Wolverine gets sprayed in the face by a cologne saleswoman because every Christmas shopping scene in the history of Christmas shopping scenes needs a fragrance salesperson.
And again, I thought, okay, here we go. He got sprayed by some sort of musk and saber-tooth come forward, something's gonna happen. And no payoff.
Yeah.
No, just
I had the similar thought. I was like, oh, this, she seemed sinister, didn't she?
She did.
Yes, exactly.
Well, yes.
Yeah, she did, 100%.
It's called Musk of the Wild, which is my favorite Switch game. He manages to escape the crowded shopping center and go for an ice skate on the rink at Rockefeller Center, where
nice and subtle and alone.
Yeah.
I can't believe he's ice skating.
I can't believe there aren't more people on the ice rink
after all
the center on Christmas Eve. There's nobody there.
Yeah, it is not a crowded rink.
No.
Also, so yeah, he grouses about ice skating or whatever. And they're like, oh yeah, we should probably not be doing this, move along. And then they like kind of double down on it. They're like, let's retie our skates. And
I thought they were taking them off. They're like, no, they're tightening them.
They are tightening
All right.
them. And this is about where Wolverine's heightened senses pick up the sound of sirens, or actually he says something's happening up there. I can smell it. Can Wolverine smell noises?
You probably smell the Morlocks coming.
So we quickly find out the sirens are coming from an out-of-control ambulance with crashes through the wall on Rockefeller Plaza and is about to fall onto the skaters on the ice rink. But Storm calls upon the raging wind to blow the ambulance away from the innocent by skaters with a gust of wind. It's a raging
gust of wind to move an ambulance.
Yeah, but I mean, hurricanes could move ambulances.
They sure can.
We'll be right back. X-Men, the evil mutants, plan their attack. As Juggernaut harnesses his battering ram, Magneto reveals his magnetic force.
Lead the attack, Juggernaut.
But waiting are the X-Men.
Evil mutants.
Wolverine flashes claws of steel, while Cyclops turns on laser power.
This city has a speed limit.
And the giant apocalypse is power lifted by the mighty Colossus.
Lost again, Magneto.
X-Men and Evil Mutants, each sold separately from Toy Biz. Now, back to our program.
And out of the ambulance crawls a pair of Morlocks, so I'll let you guys explain the Morlocks, because you'll do it better than I will.
I mean, as I understand it, the Morlocks are just they're mutants. They're no different than the X-Men in that regard.
Interesting.
The main difference is they tend to have physical attributes that don't allow them to exist in society. Now, that is not the case with several.
Let's put them in the sewer.
Well, no, they don't. They
them.
choose to go there.
Oh, okay.
So they find they have a community there. It's the thing is, not especially in this show, many of them aren't physically that, they look just like normal people for the most
like lazy
part.
Animation.
And so I'm not sure. Well, and to be fair, most of the ones you see in this are based on, characters that originate in the comics, who, again, it's like, well, this one guy's just really big and strong. Like, I don't.
The first one we're introduced to gets out of the ambulance and they're like, Ape.
He's Ape.
Yeah, they call him Ape. And then his hand grows like 10 times the size of a hand.
Yeah.
And he slaps them or something with it.
Yeah.
Like apes do. So I was a little confused about this.
He's ape because he apes other things. He's mimicking.
Is that it?
That's his whole.
He's a shapeshifter.
I knew he was a shapeshifter. I thought they called him Ape because he talked like Cookie Monster.
Yeah, me too.
No, Drew, you're absolutely right.
He talks like an ape.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
I always found the Morlocks to be like kind of a subset of mutants.
Well, so they're desperate to get drugs because somebody is injured. They're little leech.
Yes, that's why they stole the ambulance. So we have Ape here, and we also have Anna Lee, who has the power of projective empathy, but she doesn't use it here that I know of.
Doesn't use it.
Yeah.
Nope.
Doesn't seem to use it at all.
Can we talk about the device of petty theft in holiday specials or holiday stories? Because, like, I get, I think it works here. It works. It's totally perfect.
Yeah.
But in fact, this is maybe like the most spectacular version of this trope of someone in need finally, getting to the lowest breaking point and having to resort to criminal activity in order to make ends meet or whatever. Seldom does it involve, ambulances crashing through concrete barricades and onto an ice rink, the most famous ice rink in the world or whatever.
Right. Ice skating rink.
But it's interesting to me that is the one the thing that the Morlocks, I guess, where this is leading me is like, is this a pattern of Morlock behavior, or is it just because of the circumstances they resorted to petty crime, or was it just because they felt compelled to do it because it was the holiday season and that's what you do, I guess, when you're.
Look, here's the deal. It has to be the last one, because we find out later on, this is a little foreshadowing, but like Leech did all this stuff right before he got sick. So he must have been sick for like a few hours. And like, we gotta steal the ambulance. Like, we gotta get on this. Like,
yeah, they make a big leap.
He does make Christmas dinner. He does all this stuff, and your first thought is grand larceny, and like, wait, what? How did that like, to quote Anchorman, that escalated quickly.
And also, why didn't Anna Lee, whose ability is to compel people to do things, why didn't she compel the ambulance drivers to come take care of Leech? Like the first episode that features the Morlocks in this show, she brainwashes Jean Grey into thinking that she is Jean's mother.
Huh. Yes.
And Jean Grey is one of the most powerful telepaths in the X-Men universe. And so if you can convince Jean Grey that she's your daughter, you can convince an ambulance driver to come take care of Leech, I think.
Yeah, Anna Lee is just scenery here, and I'm not sure why.
Yeah.
Please, Storm, help us. Leech is very sick. We don't know what to do.
She is voiced by Kay Tremblay, who was the voice of Bishop's sister Shard.
Oh.
A few episodes back.
Okay.
And according to Wikipedia and IMDb, she was also on Avonlea as Great Auntie Liza.
Oh. Avonlea reunion.
Yes. But Ape is voiced by Ross Petty.
How touching. But that still don't explain why you're joyriding in an ambulance.
The ambulance has emergency medicine.
And that name sent me down an interesting rabbit hole. So Ross Petty has founded this annual Christmas pantomime theater show in Toronto that is apparently a huge deal in Toronto, or at least like greater Toronto area. But it's this series of fractured fairy tale type versions of shows, the kind you would see in a theme park almost. They throw in pop culture references as jokes. Most notable to me that I found was a 2004 production of Aladdin featuring Bret the Hitman Hart as the genie. So that's in the show notes.
Wow.
This year, the weekend this drops, actually, this is dropping on December 16th. On the 18th and 19th, they're doing their annual Christmas show. Ross Petty Productions presents Alice in Winterland.
Nice.
Which is apparently a ticketed live stream this year, and they're doing it in a choose your own adventure format, so that should be interesting. If it sounds like your jam, there you go.
When are they going to do this episode of the X-Men? They've got Ape.
They got Ape. So the Morlocks, Wolverine's not a fan. He immediately accuses them of stealing the ambulance, which is true, but because Leech is sick and they tried to take him to a hospital. They were that desperate. He was apparently that sick. So I don't think it was a few hours. I think he had taken care of this stuff before.
Look, they literally said he made Christmas dinner. So
maybe he made it ahead.
Got sick.
Yeah, maybe he batched it.
And then took him to the hospital and then immediately
and he found the Christmas tree.
Whereas Leech, it's like their story has holes for miles.
I don't know. He got double secret pneumonia.
Can I say also, this is the moment that for me, I found out, I don't remember who said it, but somebody turned to Storm and said that she was the leader of the Morlocks.
Yes, which happened in a previous episode.
So that was new information to me. Okay.
It's this episode that behind me, I'm featuring the oft memified image of Wolverine laying on his bed, pining away for Jean Grey. He's like holding a he's holding a photo that is a photo of Jean and Cyclops, like a portrait they had
looks like a
taken.
teenager.
Yeah, and if you could see this photo, it's as if Jean and Cyclops went and got a photo shoot, like portraits, and he went into their room, was like, I'm taking this so I can like stare wistfully at Jean Grey.
The worst.
So that's from that episode when they first meet the Morlocks and Storm takes over. And I would also like to show you guys the image that comes up directly after this or during this scene. And I can send you this for the show notes. Wolverine's pining away. It cuts to Gambit and Rogue, and they're like, where's Scott and Jean? Let's see, who cares? Let's let them have some privacy for once. So here's what they look like when they're having that conversation. And for the listener, it looks like they're about to go swimming, and Rogue, who normally is petrified at the thought of her skin touching anyone else's skin because she can't control her powers. She's in a one-piece bathing suit, but Gambit is basically in a Speedo.
Yep.
So I just wanted to. I know this is not this episode, but it's connected. It's
yeah.
got
Absolutely.
a connection.
I have taken a screenshot of that, so
good,
that's in the show notes.
I'm glad you brought that up because that was one of the things that I was curious about. Since they don't really explain in this episode how Rogue became the leader of the Morlocks, I actually looked it up.
Storm.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry. How she became the leader of the Morlocks. And I was curious if that matches what happened in the comics because they sort of had a duel, right?
Callisto.
Callisto, yeah.
Callisto.
Right. Yeah, that happened in the comics as well.
So here's the thing that bothered me about all this is they're like, Storm, you're supposed to be the leader of the Morlocks, and she just doesn't react at all.
No.
She's like,
totally indifferent.
Yeah, she does not.
She blinks. It's like a slow blink.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas, Morlocks.
She's basically, yeah, you're right.
And
I wonder if this is the first time the Morlocks have returned to the show since that one.
And I'm personally still trying to figure out who the Morlocks are, because from my estimation, they are mutants that Professor X did not bring into the mansion and are living in the sewer.
No, they just
never applied for admission to the mansion.
Oh, is that all?
They are welcome at the mansion, but they hate. So they've been cast out. Okay, they're for their physical attributes.
Is that covered?
Yes.
Okay.
Not in this episode.
I didn't see it in this episode.
No, it's not. But
all I saw was that they were ugly, and their names are Ape and Leech and Ugly Morlock.
But they expect you to have watched every episode up to this point, not to be watching it singly only for doing a podcast.
Which is a big ask.
It's a big ask. But most people are watching these shows because they're doing podcasts.
Naturally.
Professor X. Wait, this might be towards the end. Never mind. I think it's
we don't see the professor again until the end. But for now, let's talk about Leech in the hospital. They say that his mutant powers were out of control. We see a flashback where his hands get all zappy and he knocks over a nurse to help him. You guys remember the Leech character better than I do. I don't remember him having zappy hands.
No.
Nope.
His own, yeah.
Now it's winter, so maybe it's static electricity.
Oh, it could be.
That's probably what it was.
Leech's power is he can neutralize other mutant powers. If you remember the movie, he was infamously a major plot point in X-Men The Last Stand. He was the little bald boy.
That's right.
Whose blood was used to create the mutant cure, in air quotes.
Yeah.
So Ape and Anna Lee plead to Storm, who became the Morlocks leader a few seasons back and just left them. Storm believes them, so Jubilee believes them. Wolverine has his doubts.
Sewer rats.
I don't know why Wolverine hates the Morlocks so much.
He hates everything's episode.
I understand why he would hate Christmas, because Christmas is all happy and it's Wolverine. But the Morlocks, like, that's his jam. You know, these are people who hate society, who hate, you know, everyone who has it better than them. And so I would think, if anything, Wolverine would be like, yeah, Morlocks, I get it.
I hate the Morlocks. I hate Christmas. I like ice skating.
Mad about what they did to Jean.
Oh, it is. You're right. It is what
That's
they
a
did.
good
to Gene.
point. Yeah.
That
You're
must be
absolutely
it.
right. Because he gets really mad.
Storm is trying to convince him to do a blood transfusion, and he goes, "Forget about it. It's impossible." And then she says something else, and he goes, "Maybe there's a chance." Now, I want to also point out that the blood transfusion is with a character named Leech. That's the biggest thing here, is that they're like, "Hey, do we have the equipment to do this?" No, the guy's name is Leech. Let him do it.
That's a good point. Well, he's bedridden right now. He's just sitting groaning on a bed. Yeah. The voice of Leech is John Stalker.
Leech hungry too.
Who I know best from the Super Mario Brothers Super Show. He was Toad.
Whoa.
Get out of here.
Wow.
Nice.
Whoa.
And if you watch the Care Bears family, he was Beastly.
Oh.
And I just talked about the Care Bears Nutcracker Suite, and he was the Rat King in that. So John Stalker's back in the podcast.
Nice. Does great as Leech.
Yes. with all like 3 or 4 of his lines here. Yeah. And also here is the former leader of the Morlocks, Callisto, who is not thrilled to see Storm.
So, our glorious leader deigns to visit us after all this time. Is this Christmas charity, or did you just come to watch a Morlock suffer?
Good old Callisto.
Callisto's voice is Susan Roman, who voiced Scarlet Witch, and was the North American voice of Sailor Jupiter.
Whoa.
And I also talked about her in the Care Bears episode. She was Funshine Bear.
Nice.
There was a lot of crossover between tertiary X-Men characters and the Care Bears, but
okay,
there's only these 2 common threads in this episode. But Storm and Callisto agree to put their differences aside and give Leech their full attention.
Callisto has an eye patch
and a scar
and a scar over
and
her other
that's
eye.
it. And the scar's over the other eye, and the eye patch is over the good eye.
Yeah.
And what Adam was saying earlier, they switch in between.
Oh, yeah. They're flopping all over the place.
Yeah.
That's her mutant power.
The mutant power.
I can move this scar over here.
It's like a video game when you any fighting game. If you're facing the other way, now you're left-handed.
That's a good point.
Exactly like that.
Storm's original idea or original intention is to fly Leech to X Mansion so Beast can attend to him, but after Wolverine looks him over, he says Leech wouldn't survive the trip. And that really upsets Jubilee.
No, he can't. Not today. It's Christmas Eve.
Not Leech.
Yeah, that's where they cut to commercial. And back from commercial, Jubilee asks Wolverine if his self-regeneration powers could help Leech, and that's where this blood transfusion idea comes in.
Can we talk about these long, lingering shots on the quote-unquote Morlock Christmas tree? There's 3 of them in this episode, where it's just the slow pan.
It's the same shot. Yeah.
The bottom, but it's slightly different. It definitely was animated 3 times.
Oh, yeah.
It's a slow pan. And the last time, there's an ornament that shows up out of nowhere, broken, of course.
Was it not there originally?
No, it was there every time. It was there every time.
I must have missed that.
No, it's this little Charlie Brown Christmas tree that's barely clinging to life, and on the top of it, drooping down, is this shattered ornament.
Yeah.
And it's a powerful little pan that they do every time. They really focus on it just to remind you that it's a Christmas episode.
They really hammered home.
The girl tells us that Leech found the Christmas tree.
Leech found the Christmas tree.
He found the Christmas
and he made
tree.
dinner.
And
he also found
dinner.
And then
about that point, I'm like, what are the rest of you doing?
Yeah, he's the one gathering it. He wanted a Christmas dinner or something.
He's the heart of the Morlocks.
He's the heart of the Morlocks, and he got pneumonia over it.
I'm just going to say, too, that Christmas dinner that Leech, the Morlock gruel or whatever that they're preparing for Christmas looks way better than anything Jean Grey and Gambit come up with. So I mean, if I have to pick, I'm having Christmas with the Morlocks.
It does look appetizing.
I had a big problem with the next thing is Jubilee is like, half of my presents are food.
Oh no, that's way later on. Hold on.
Yeah,
okay.
Well, I wanted to give a fun sort of note on the Jubilee trying to get Wolverine to use his healing factor to help somehow.
Right.
In the comics, when Jubilee turns into a vampire, the only way she can live is by drinking Wolverine's blood because he can regenerate it without being. So it's not a danger to him. So it's fun how those two things link together.
There you go. And it's only after Storm asks if this is over Wolverine's prejudice of the Morlocks that he admits he's tried to help others with his blood and had to watch over 20 different people die trying to save them.
That's my favorite. 20. Yeah, he's like so specific with that number.
Exactly 23. Including a kid smaller than Leech.
Yeah, a kid smaller than Leech. Didn't make it.
All of a sudden, it's like the focus shifts from like, let's save Leech to like, let's save Wolverine's feelings.
Yeah.
It's like who the
Flippity gibbet.
cares about Leech? Like Wolverine, man, he had some rough times with people. We got to make sure he's doing. Come on, kid, do it for me. I'm like what?
But it has worked twice, he admits, and that's enough for Storm to insist you have to at least try.
And then the best moment of the entire episode where Ape's like, my time to shine, baby.
Yes. So Storm has Ape transform himself into a flatbed.
Why can't Wolverine lay on the floor?
Understand? I mean, it's like there's so many options.
Do they need to be? Does he need to be at the same level as Leech? That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, maybe at the
transfusion. Yeah, like Storm says, Wolverine needs a flat surface. Okay, you're in a sewer and the ground's dry.
It's only like a foot higher.
Right.
It's a low bed.
And he kind of is a weird table. It's not even like it's yeah, he does a back bend into the table form. But then later you see his face is on the table on the front of it. But it should be upside down if you did that back bend, but it's right side up. So
well, you figure if you can change the stuff,
you can twist it around. That's good.
Move the face up. Yeah.
I guess if it's either the shape-shifting mutant or the ground, I'm picking the shape-shifting mutant too.
I don't know. I choose the ground. I'm going ground and gruel. I'm with John.
Hey, all right. Well, speaking of that, back at the mansion, we cut to more kitchen fighting between Jean and Gambit. I did want more of this plot because it's just yelling at each other in the kitchen.
It's a great kitchen too. Like,
oh yeah.
Again, like it's very sparse, right? There's not much going on in this kitchen, which led me to think like, how do they prepare meals for all of the people who live in this facility and keep it so immaculately clean? And that led me to wonder, like, is there like a mutant cleaning service, or do they all have, chores? Like, is somebody in charge of cleaning the kitchen? And if so, who's cleaning the kitchen?
Quicksilver.
And who did it before this episode? Because Gambit and Jean, like, really, they kind of mucked it up.
Yeah.
This reminded me of something, John. I'm really glad you said this. And I don't know if somebody actually might have the answer to this. So at the beginning of the episode, they went Christmas shopping, obviously, right?
Right.
Where's the money coming from? Like, Jubilee's like, finally, this is the first real Christmas I've had. Just got like 20 gifts. Who's bankrolling this thing?
I just assume Professor X.
Where's he getting the money?
He's rich. He's rich.
Hey, he's rich.
He has a mansion.
Isn't he giving any of that to these Morlocks?
It's just coming out of your tuition.
He welcomes the Morlocks. The Morlocks don't want to hang out with the X-Men.
No, it's their choice to stay in the sewer. I think it might be Storm bankrolling Jubilee's shopping spree because she made some comment about how her childlike joy at Christmas. It made her kind of wistful for her own childhood or something.
Yeah.
But So maybe then.
But I don't know where Storm's getting money either.
She's doing all right. She's got multiple outfits that she's wearing through this. Like,
I know, but
yeah, and then the
none of them
jacket
have
that she
jobs,
wears
dude.
shopping and down here.
She's the leader of the Morlocks. I mean,
Yeah.
that has to be a lucrative.
Yeah, there.
Get some tithing from them, and
Yeah.
it's good enough.
There you go. Morlock's salary that we didn't know about. Gambit's here admits he only gave the ham a little juicing up, and that's enough for Gene to throw a stalk of broccoli at him. And Scott zaps it out of the way so no one gets hurt.
It's a clean zap because they catch it and it's still fully intact.
Yeah. Just knocks it out of the way.
Yeah.
These optic blasts are concussive, of course, and not they don't radiate heat, so they would have just
all right.
Yeah.
Just a slap. But their bickering's cut short by the professor, who calls for Rogue to fly Beast into the city for something closer to proper medical attention. Because Beast isn't a licensed physician, because mutant. But he's smart enough to actually know what he's doing, I guess, which to the Morlocks is fine.
You can't make a cranberry sauce, but all right.
Gonna save this kid.
Fix Leech.
And back in the tunnels, Jubilee is comforting a little scaly-skinned Morlock girl named Mariana, who is a completely original character in this episode and apparently nowhere else anywhere.
Oh, nice.
She's not in any comics I could find. She's not in any other episodes of the show. I don't even have a voice credit for her.
Oh, wow.
Beach okay now?
Soon.
Come, see Christmas tree.
Mariana is here to be a sad little Morlock girl who's worried about Leech, and that's it.
And it's weird because Leech was the sad little Morlock, but then they're like, let's bring in a sadder, younger,
littler
girl to be
It's
upset about
little
him.
Cindy Lou Who Morlock.
Pretty much. Also, without knowing the mutant powers of these Morlocks, Jubilee was very trusting of like, hey, little Morlock girl, yes, like, come, I'll hug you and hold you close to myself. And I mean, she doesn't know what this kid could do. She has no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, she clearly doesn't care. She knew who Leech was when they mentioned his name.
Not Leech.
Yeah.
Yeah, not Leech.
Not on Christmas Eve.
And here's where she asks Storm how the Morlocks can live like this with nothing. And Storm explains, no, you're wrong. They have the power of love.
You're wrong, child. I love that line was excellent. You're wrong, child.
Yes.
Okay, I wrote this down. She said, they have each other's love. As long as you have a loving family, every day is Christmas. It would do us well for us to remember that. And the whole time I'm thinking, you're in charge of this.
I think she's telling herself that.
I hope so. But, okay.
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. She solves that problem in a way. In a manner of speaking later. But just as Wolverine's about to give up, in comes Beast with his little black doctor bag from the 1800s.
Well, yeah, he doesn't really do anything, right? He
speaks to the Leech.
And he starts
vocally
to do something. He's like, okay, here I am. I'm going to save the day. Oh, actually, Wolverine, the transfusion.
Yeah,
worked.
no. Beast shows up. He takes out his stethoscope because what do doctors do? All right, I'll put on the stethoscope, listen for a heartbeat, and Leech finally blinks awake and screams.
Now we do get a good POV shot of like Leech's eyes opening up.
We get Leech's eyes blinking awake, and then you get the blurry focus on Beast's face, which Leech screams at.
Understandable.
Oh yeah, if that's the first thing I'm opening my eyes to, I'd give a gasp too. Leech sits up. Jubilee's moved to tears. Wolverine breathes a sigh of relief next to the tiny little Charlie Brown Christmas tree with the broken ornament. Looks like things are about to wrap up when Storm demands Callisto give her the scepter of power.
Then Callisto starts to say something, and then Storm's like, hold on. I'm in charge here. And then she like...
I don't need to give you an explanation. It's
It's such a Ebenezer Scrooge end of the Christmas Carol. Like, messing around with Cratchit, be like, "Where would you work today?"
Oh, good point.
I'm
Yeah.
kidding.
So, kind of. They have a bit of a spat before Storm invokes her authority as leader of the Morlocks, commands Callisto to kneel before her, and Storm officially relinquishes her title and names Callisto as the Morlocks' new leader, which she was kind of acting as to begin with. Fine.
Right.
She was their old leader. Storm realized she did a whole lot of nothing for these people and decided to make her piecing out of their lives and abandoning them official.
Make a big ceremony about it too. Be
So great.
Like, beat Callisto in combat. I think what happened early in the episode. So I'm the leader. He eats out for 3 years. Comes back. You're like, oh right. Hey, but you know what?
You're leader again. Rise and kneel no more.
What? Because she did it today. It's a Christmas gift, right?
Yeah.
Yahoo Doris, Yahoo Doris.
And now Wolverine's in the mood to celebrate. He asks for a cookie and orange juice.
What's that? Sounds like, what's the guy doing like cookie and orange juice around here? Like what?
Well, he just gave blood.
He did just give blood. That's exactly what they give you.
Oh,
After you
good
give blood.
job, Drew. I didn't catch that either. Huh.
I didn't
But of
connect
course,
that.
his blood regenerates. So
Right.
Right.
Yeah, he's the last person who needs that. But
Yeah.
he thanks Leech for surviving, and both mention they're hungry. And Callisto invites them all to stay for Christmas dinner. It's not much, but wait! All of those packages Jubilee bought, half of them are food. So
weird.
She gives them all to Leech and Mariana to open up, and they all stay for dinner.
This is the weirdest part, where there's the Beast story of Jean Grey and Gambit cooking turkeys in a mansion, and nobody's like, hey, why don't you come back to our mansion and eat our feast that we've already prepared and maybe sleep there?
They don't want to go there, Nick.
I guess.
Okay, I get it. No.
Speaking of Gambit, he's dismayed to learn that his big spread of food that we now see in the kitchen will go uneaten that night. And
leftovers.
Yeah, Jean tells him they can warm it up later, but you do not warm up such a meal. And our last shot is Charles on his Zach Morris phone talking to Jubilee.
Yes.
It's 1995.
Why is he using his phone? He's telepathic. He can literally speak to anyone in the world in their brain.
Maybe he got that phone for Christmas. Gene got that phone for Christmas.
There
Novelty.
I love it, Gene.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll use it right now.
Great. Oh.
But he's also like, yes, Jubilee, you're finally like saying, like, I can't remember the phrase. He was like, you're showing what's like to be an X-Men. It's like has she been an X-Men for like 4 years at this point? It's like,
well, it's her first year as an X-Men. So everything leading up to this has been one.
It's been 1 year.
Okay, 1 year apparently.
Okay.
At least since episode 1.
Yeah, well, it's the first Christmas we see, so sure. He's proud of her for understanding how much more she's needed where she is. And we pan outside the mansion as snow falls over final title card, wishing us Merry Christmas from all the X-Men. Or at least all the ones that are in this episode. Because Charles forgot a few. At the beginning, he said, I'm so happy that all of my X-Men are here together for Christmas. And there aren't a lot of people there. It's mostly an empty mansion. Where was Iceman? He would be perfect for a Christmas episode.
He's not a member anymore in this continuity.
Oh, okay.
He does show up in one episode of this show and references the fact that he was an original member, but yeah, it's not in this.
I was over next to this wall the whole time. I was upstairs in my room. Got Judy Winslow out of the X-Men show.
I was in my room looking at a photo of Jean and Cyclops.
That's it.
You got a photo of Wolverine.
Yeah,
looking at a picture of Jean.
Oh, speaking of Wolverine, is this the first episode where Wolverine does not brandish his claws at all?
Oh,
interesting.
Like he at no point does he ever use.
Does he never? He never pulls them out.
He threatens it when he gets sprayed.
When he gets sprayed
like puts his
with
fist up. He's
Musk
like
of the
shaking.
Wild,
He's like,
yeah, but they get him out of there.
Yeah. puts the fist up there, but it does not extend them.
In so many ways, this episode disappoints in that I mean, all the ways that we talked about, but as an X-Men show, we never see them in their uniforms.
No.
There's barely any kind of action, right? It's just the ambulance, basically. And the broccoli.
And the pot of tepid water.
Yeah.
Tonight on a very special X-Men.
So we get very little X-Men kind of activity in this episode.
Peace on Earth.
I think that's why I like it. I think that's why it's a great episode.
There you go. Well, final thoughts on this one.
So did you guys catch right at the very end when they're kind of having the little sappy, back and forth? They're doing, I think, like a Jingle Bell theme, essentially. But I kid you not, if you listen carefully, right in the middle of it, it goes. I heard it. I was like, yes.
He threw that in there. Yep.
Logan, I regret that I was too blind to show you the compassion you have given Leech this day. I should know better than to question your heart.
But yeah, I thought it was a wonderfully terrible episode. Again, I got so hung up on the package thing so quickly, it like dominated my entire viewing experience.
Doing this podcast, I'm used to stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I forget to mention it. So thank you.
Yeah, I give it a 2 out of 5 bubs.
Yeah, I sort of what I said earlier of like not enough actual X-Men stuff going on in this. Not even like a B story. Like I appreciate that they tried to inject this kind of Jean Grey Gambit thing, but maybe there could have been a B story where like you had a few X-Men doing actual X-Men stuff amidst the holidays. I would have liked that. I give it 1 Wolverine claw out of 6.
I'm just glad that Storm turned over control of the Morlocks to Calypso, since she hadn't thought about it since she got in charge. I'm really upset about that. I wish that somebody would offer the Morlocks. You guys seem to think that everyone feeling like they should live in is okay. Maybe they should just suggest
they do
come over and have dinner.
Dinner. Dinner. They should have been like, "Hey, I know you want to live up here, but like, just we'll make it real hush hush, real under the radar. We're just gonna eat some food."
They wouldn't come.
I bet you Abe would have come.
Maybe I just don't know how it's like to be a Morlock.
Heck with you people. I'm going to the war mansion that's above ground.
Abe, we need a Christmas table. You got it? Yes, I got it.
Oh no, that's worse.
They do need more furniture in that place. So
yeah, they do.
He'd be perfect.
Anybody else want to sit down besides Wolverine? I'm on it. Abe on it.
Nick, what's your rating?
0 out of 5 sewers.
I actually lament that they ever left the mansion for any purpose in this, because like at the start I got really excited. I thought this is just going to be like a domestic farce with all kinds of shenanigans around the X Mansion. Maybe some Secret Santa shenanigans and stuff. And then we don't really get that apart from the kitchen stuff, which like as the premise I like, but it doesn't ever really get there for me. They should have really doubled down on the kitchen stuff if they were actually going to do that. So I still believe that there is a great X-Men Christmas special to be made yet. This was not it, but since it did give me a little bit of what I wanted, I would say it's probably 3 out of 5 color changing mismatch Jubilee Christmas gift packages.
Yes. I will also give it 3 out of 5 shattered ornaments hanging from the saddest Christmas tree. And you can watch this on Disney Plus. It's hiding in season 4. It's episode number 14. But thank you all for breaking your retirement to talk with me about old cartoons. This was fun.
Super fun.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Sure.
Yeah, definitely.
And if people want to give your ham a little juicing up, where can they find you on the internet? Let's start with Drew.
What's my Instagram?
Go Pizza Nut still or no?
Is it Go Pizza Nut or is it Pizza Nut Go?
Oh.
I can
This is
never
becoming
remember.
a bit for Drew. where
Well, I
he
just
doesn't
can't.
remember.
I can't ever remember. Let me look. All right, Go Pizza Nut.
It looks like you also registered Pizza Not Go and just
I did.
nothing's there.
Yeah, there was a whole mishap when I first started setting up this online persona where I tried to get certain URLs and they weren't available, and I tried to get email addresses, and in the end, there's like Go Pizza Nut and Pizza Nut Go in various forms. The one to look at is Go Pizza Nut, PIZZANAUT. I post every few months.
Nick.
I if you like cute dogs, follow me on Instagram at Nick Main. If you like food and live in St. Louis, check out my podcast, Keep Me in St. Louis.
Award-winning
podcast.
John.
You can argue with me about whether or not Wolverine deserves his sour disposition on Twitter at John Dedeke, or on Instagram at Grateful Dedeke.
And Adam.
I barely exist on the internet, but if you really want to try to find me, I'm on Instagram as Adam_senior SR senior. Well, sorry, Adam_SR.
SR senior.
Right, SR senior _senior. I can't find him.
Are the Ambassadors of Harmony doing anything in December?
Oh my gosh, yes. So we are the first time in 2 years doing a full Christmas show. Must be masked and vaxxed to come see the show. That's gonna be the weekend of December 10th, 11th, and 12th. I believe.
Shoot, this is after that.
Oh, that's okay.
It was a great show, and I'm sorry you all missed it.
That's fine. Oh man, it was amazing. The show we did last weekend. You should have been there. AOH.org.
Well, thank you again, guys. This was awesome.
Thank you, Mike.
Absolutely. Anytime. Well, y'all can find show notes for all the Morlock tunnels full of tangents we went on today at adventcalendar.house. I'm on Twitter at FallWestMike and AdventCalHouse. Tune in for our next exciting episode in just a couple of days. Until then, for Drew, John, Nick, and Adam, live from the Danger Room, this is Mike Westfall reminding you to mind the icy patch. It might just be Bobby sulking because he's not in this episode. Later.
Mama, Mike Westfall. Yeah.
And now, these messages.
Hi, I'm Ed Daly. My new book, The Christmas Book, The Ultimate Guide to Your Favorite Holiday, is out now in time for holiday gift giving. In it, I explain everything from our odd customs like bringing trees indoors and kissing under the mistletoe, to the stories behind just about every major Christmas song and movie ever made. And most importantly, for lovers of the Advent Calendar House podcast, the biggest section of the book focuses on Christmas on TV. Sure, Charlie Brown, Rudolph, and Frosty are included. The Christmas book also examines lesser-known Rankin-Bass specials like Nestor the Long-Eared Christmas Donkey, Christmas variety shows, sitcoms, cop shows, doctor shows, anthology shows. Anyone out there remember the holiday episodes from He-Man, Garfield, MacGyver, SpongeBob, Curb Your Enthusiasm, 90210, Animaniacs, G.I. Joe, Scooby-Doo? And of course the Rambo Christmas cartoon where he saves a toy maker and travels shirtless down a snowy mountain on a hubcap. I'd love to hear about your favorite TV specials. My Twitter account is EasyEdDaily, that's EZEDDALY. The book is The Christmas Book by Ed Daly, available on Amazon. Thanks everyone, hope you enjoy it. I wrote it with fellow Christmas fanatics like you in mind.
What do two poets who are Christmas geeks do when they get together? They get drunk and argue about Yuletide lit. It's time to get lit for Christmas. Join us as we open the liquor cabinet, grab a book off the shelf, and have a little boozy conversation about what warms our chestnuts and makes us holly and jolly. Find out the best screwdriver to Scrooge with. Get the recipe for Gift of the Magi mojitos. Enjoy a little peppermint patty Polar Express. Everyone's welcome at this party. It's time to do some Jingle Bell Jello shots and talk about the great, and maybe not so great, works of Christmas literature. Hurry up. The fireplace is roaring, and Bing Crosby's crooning. We're 2 drinks in, and the spirits of Christmas past, present, and future are flowing. Grab a cup of cheer and find a place on the couch. It is time to get lit for Christmas.
Next time on the Advent Calendar House.
I'm dreaming of a Smoky Mountain Christmas, with the kids around the fireplace stringing popcorn for the tree. I'm dreaming of a Smoky Mountain Christmas, with nothing much that money buys, but everything worthwhile in life. Dreaming of a Smoky Mountain Christmas.